Have you ever imagined a future where Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam, becomes a Christian country by 2030? It might sound unbelievable, but it's a scenario that has sparked curiosity and conversation all over the world. Could such a monumental transformation actually take place? What might be the driving forces behind it, and what challenges would Saudi Arabia face along the way? Stick with us as we dive into this thought-provoking topic and explore Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, a plan that could shape the future in ways we never thought possible. Saudi Arabia has always been seen as the spiritual heart of Islam. The cities of Mecca and Medina, two of the holiest places for Muslims, are located here. For centuries, the kingdom has upheld strict Islamic traditions with laws that only permit the practice of Islam. The idea that this deeply Islamic nation could ever embrace Christianity is almost unimaginable to many. However, as strange as it seems, it's a question that is being asked more and more. Could Saudi Arabia, a country so closely tied to Islam, actually allow Christianity to take root within its borders? In recent years, Saudi Arabia has begun a remarkable journey of transformation. Under the leadership of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the country has set its sights on Vision 2030. This ambitious plan aims to modernize the country, reduce its reliance on oil, and open up its society to a more inclusive and diverse future. Some of the changes we've already seen include advances in women's rights, the opening of cinemas, and a loosening of certain religious restrictions. These reforms hint at something much bigger, a possible shift in the way Saudi Arabia approaches religion and culture. Currently, public worship of Christianity is strictly prohibited in Saudi Arabia. However, despite this, the country is home to over 1.4 million Christians, primarily foreign workers from countries like the Philippines, India, and Ethiopia. These individuals practice their faith quietly behind closed doors, often living in fear of reprisal. While the government cracks down on any visible expression of Christianity, there are some signs that attitudes may be changing. Neighboring Gulf nations like the UAE and Bahrain have allowed churches to be built and even hosted papal visits. Could Saudi Arabia eventually follow suit and permit greater religious freedom? To understand the possibility of such a drastic change, we need to look at the forces that might drive Saudi Arabia toward Christianity. One major factor is geopolitics. In recent years, Saudi Arabia has been increasingly aligning itself with Western nations for trade and development. A more tolerant and inclusive approach to religion could strengthen these alliances, potentially attracting more foreign investment. By embracing religious diversity, Saudi Arabia could signal to the world that it is open for business and open-minded about different cultures and beliefs. Another driving force could be the youth and the influence of globalization. Nearly 70% of Saudi Arabia's population is under the age of 35. This younger generation is growing up in a world that is more connected than ever before. Through technology, social media, and travel, young Saudis are exposed to a variety of global cultures and ideas. Some of them may find Christianity's message of love, forgiveness, and a personal connection with God appealing. These values could provide a sense of hope and purpose, especially in a rapidly changing world. But cultural shifts are never easy, especially in a country where tradition and religion are deeply woven into the fabric of society. While some Saudis might embrace the idea of Christianity, there would certainly be a lot of opposition. Saudi Arabia's religious authorities and many of its citizens are deeply committed to Islam. Any move toward Christianity would face significant resistance, not only from religious leaders but from those who see Islam as an integral part of their national identity. For many Saudis, Islam is not just a religion, it's the foundation of their cultural identity. To abandon it would be to lose a core part of what makes them who they are. The political implications of such a shift would also be enormous. The Saudi monarchy draws much of its legitimacy from its role as the custodian of Islam's holiest sites. If the country were to move away from Islam, it could destabilize the entire political structure. The monarchy might risk losing its grip on power, as its very legitimacy is tied to its religious role. So, could Christianity coexist with Islam in Saudi Arabia? Rather than replacing Islam, Christianity might find a place alongside it. A future where both religions are practiced openly in Saudi Arabia could lead to a more inclusive society. Imagine a country where churches and mosques stand side by side, where people are free to worship according to their own beliefs. Such a future might not only strengthen Saudi Arabia's position as a leader in religious tolerance, but could also change the entire political and social landscape of the Middle East. The global response to such a transformation would be immense. Some countries and religious groups would celebrate it as a victory for freedom, diversity, and human rights. Others might view it as a threat to the unity of the Muslim world. The implications would be felt far beyond the borders of Saudi Arabia, reverberating across the globe in ways we can't yet fully understand. A move toward religious tolerance in Saudi Arabia could set a precedent for the entire region, encouraging other nations to reconsider their stance on religious freedom. It's easy to dismiss the idea of Saudi Arabia becoming a Christian country as something too far-fetched to ever happen. But if Vision 2030 continues to unfold as planned, we may be witnessing the early stages of a radical transformation. The kingdom's leaders are pushing for changes that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago, and this includes the possibility of religious openness. It's important to ask, what does this mean for the future? As we look ahead, it's important to consider the broader implications of such a shift. The idea of Saudi Arabia transforming into a more religiously tolerant nation isn't just about religion, it's about the country's role in the world. Imagine a Saudi Arabia that, while still maintaining its Islamic heritage, also opens its doors to the teachings of other faiths. This could be a beacon of hope in a region that has long struggled with religious conflict. By embracing diversity, Saudi Arabia could set an example for other countries in the Middle East, showing that it's possible to preserve one's cultural identity while respecting others' beliefs. As we delve deeper into Vision 2030, it's clear that the country is on a path toward modernization. But it remains to be seen whether religious freedom will be part of that vision. While the younger generation might be more open to change, the older, more conservative population may resist the idea of a shift in religious practices. In the face of such opposition, how would the government balance the desire for progress with the need to respect the deeply ingrained cultural traditions of the nation? And let's not forget the global pressure that might come with this shift. Saudi Arabia is not just an island, it's part of a larger geopolitical landscape. As it aligns itself more closely with Western nations, the world will be watching closely to see how it handles issues like religious freedom. If Saudi Arabia were to open the door to Christianity, it could signal to the world that the country is ready for a new chapter, one that could lead to greater international cooperation, peace, and understanding. On the flip side, there's a risk that such a transformation could spark backlash, not only within the kingdom, but also in the broader Muslim world. Countries with large Muslim populations might view this shift as a challenge to the core of their beliefs, and some may even take political or religious action to oppose such a change. The ripple effects of this could be felt far beyond the Middle East. But no matter how you look at it, this is a conversation that can't be ignored. The possibility of a religious transformation in Saudi Arabia raises fundamental questions about faith, tolerance, and the future of global society. Could we witness a time when two of the world's largest religions coexist peacefully in the heart of the Islamic world? If Saudi Arabia can navigate the delicate balance between preserving its Islamic heritage and embracing religious diversity, it could emerge as a leader in interfaith dialogue and tolerance. This transformation wouldn't just be about allowing Christianity. It would be about showing the world that religious freedom can exist in a region where it's traditionally been restricted. So what does the future hold for Saudi Arabia? Will it remain steadfast in its Islamic traditions, or will it open its doors to new beliefs and ways of thinking? While no one can say for sure, one thing is certain: the journey toward a more inclusive and tolerant society is already underway, and the world is watching. Thank you for taking this deep dive into Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 with us. If this video has sparked your curiosity, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking discussions on the world's most intriguing possibilities. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video, where we continue exploring the future of faith, culture, and global change.